In this video, we're going to use the stability ball and cover some exercises incorporating it with the reformer. So if you've watched the other stability ball series, you're going to see that I can do it outside the reformer or inside the reformer. I've used anywhere from a 65 centimeter to this 55 centimeter. Now you can see when mine goes in, it kind of wedges. It's like it's between it, but there's still some movement. So when I use the 75 or the 65, the larger ball, that centimeter, what it's going to do is be harder to wedge in there, but it's not going to move in a lateral aspect. It can move a little bit forward and backwards, but not side to side. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start with a couple different sitting exercises. Now, based on your reformer height is going to dictate where your leg is. So for me, this is very comfortable. You can, if you have the shorter reformers, it's not going to hit you, but I kind of like it. It's a nice stability. So I'm going to stack my spine, reach my right leg out, get a nice little inner thigh stretch. I'm going to place my right hand on the frame and my left hand on the foot bar. And so the left hand is holding and the right hand is just going to guide me into rotation as I press my palm in, activating my pec and lat, and then return. So just the nice basic rotation. And when I do that, I'm really thinking about getting a nice inner thigh stretch because I'm really elongating up as I rotate and reach that ear forward. Really stretch forward. And one more, lengthening up, spiraling up, placing the hand on the foot bar farthest from me, and then slowly take my hand away, keeping that core activation, and place the hand on the thigh, going a little deeper into the rotation by pulling lightly on my leg, bending my elbow for 5, 4, 3, and using the stability ball is actually really nice. It's a nice, comfortable way to do this. So adding a little bit of lateral flexion, I'm going to place my forearm down and I'm just going to stretch up. You can also grab underhand depending on your reformer height or on the bar. So find a position that feels good for you when you do it. You can also place your hand on the frame. Getting a nice stretch. Now I'm going to go both ways, place my hand on. Once my tricep is on the box, then I'm going to stretch the other direction. And then I'm going to place my hand back on the frame and stretch. Now we're going to add rotation to the box side. And I'm demoing this, but please know you're going to need to do this whole series on the other side too. So I'm just showing you face camera. So I'm going to place one hand on, push the box away, and I'm going to slide. Once my elbow is on is about where I'm going to go. I'm going to first stretch, then lower the arm, bend the elbow, and thread it through. Now, when I'm threading it through, I'm thinking about this whole left side of my body reaching to the frame. So I'm not trying to go to my leg. By taking my left shoulder, my left rib, and my left ear, I'm going to really create a nice length and rotation to my spine. And this hand on the box is really facilitating stability. Inhale as I open the arm up, look up, lift my chest, lengthen my neck, slowly bring the arm down, and then rotate, and then bring my whole left side body down to the frame, and then back up. So a couple great things is the comfort of the stability ball, but also the leg positioning really helps with stability. You can increase the amount of movement by sitting on the ball with the legs over the frame. Now I've done this where I've propped it up for some clients, with the Reebok step. I'll put it in because I've got the 18-inch height. So I'll slide that Reebok step in underneath so their feet and their ball is a little bit higher based on the limb length from the ankle to here. So play around with your propping. I'm going to start with legs nice and wide, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now I have to control because the ball has a movement potential. So I'm going to do the same exercise, just showing you really quickly. Really anchoring those hips, preventing the ball from moving. So play around with your legs. You can also shift it closer to, I've got the extended platform under here, so let me move that out of the way. Because I can fit my leg underneath that cutout between the, and I can do it this way too. So I really want you to play around with the options for the sitting and the well stretching, adding both, or do it what feels comfortable, one-sided, or both legs over, or the other side, and just see what you like best. There's so many options. And I honestly, when I teach, I play around with all of those. One day I may do side leg straight, to the front, to the back. So enjoy those different stretches. Now, I'm going to sit facing forward on the ball, and I'm going to put my hands on the frame, and we're going to show you facing the foot bar first, and then we'll face it away. So organize your shoulders, lats, pecs, and abdominals are engaged, and I'm just really stretching my lumbar spine as I roll that ball forward. Now, this is an option to do this sitting on the reformer or the stability ball. When I'm teaching new students, I will sometimes sit them on the reformer, the carriage edge, put their feet on the ground, and I'll actually have them start a nice stretch, lift up, and roll. Taking your arms off as you advance it, hands back onto that stretch, arms off, and roll. Adding some rotation. So there's some nice options because the ball is not going to shift. Now, when you've done this a few times, you've given your students the option, take the ball outside the frame and play around with some of these exercises without the frame or the bar or box to hold on to. So I want to take it up a notch, and we're going to show you a kneeling series. If you find that you need to change the ball, maybe it's too much, let me just show you quickly what you can do. Put the ball in, or the box in the well, and you can do some really great kneeling series. Sorry. If you have the shorter reformers, this is not going to work. But if you have the ones where the box is you're going to be able to kneel on, you're going to do some really nice stretches and back up. So as I reach one arm forward, it's slight rotation, and then I'm going to do a nice little stretch. Now you can hear the springs hitting the box. Not going to hurt anything. If you go too far, it may, worst case scenario, pull a spring off, which can be popped on really easy. So there's some nice options there. You've probably seen in more an advanced series when I've taken the box and I've done some different exercises on that. So taking those ideas, using the stable box, putting it into application with the Swiss ball, the stability ball. Put the ball in, go into that kneeling stretch. Now the great thing is, this can teach your students security on the ball, knowing they're not going to roll off and, hit their head on the floor. So you need to err on the side of having the ball slightly forward, so there's some room between your toes and the hooks. Starting with the hands on, getting a nice stretch. Slowly lift your chest by extending your spine. The box is going to move. And do little hip rolls. Stretch. Start extending the spine, pressing the palms down, and roll. Now this takes a lot of control because it's part box and then stabilizing box and moving from the stability ball. So I'll really show you, be very careful. If you move the box more or the stability ball more, you're going to find it's a challenge to stay on the ball. So initiate with spine extension. Now stabilizing the shoulders so the box is not moving, the carriage is stable now, and roll those hips for 5, 4, 3, 2, stabilize that box, 1, and then stretch. You can also increase the difficulty by holding on with nothing and just kind of getting that stability, and then fingertip, and then sit back, down, and roll. So I'm rolling the ball forward with my abdominals. You can even take your arms away. It's mostly pelvic movement, but that lateral aspect is nice. And I've done it without the box on, hands on the frame as well, and do that rolling. So you're going to know this is just basically variation, one hand high, one hand low, of knee stretches, reverse knee stretches. I'm going to add an oblique variation by taking the hand here, rotate, and use my right obliques. Switch. That is a really great challenge and an amazing back stretch. So those are the few you can do facing back, and get creative. You can do it without the box as well. I'm going to show you a couple more to finish this segment. Facing front. So when you're doing that series I showed you where you move the box, then you move the ball, this is great because it takes the instability of the box away. So I'm going to place my arms on and just do my knee stretches round back. And nice stretch. Extend my spine up and roll. Stretch back. Extend my spine and roll. I'm going to do an oblique variation where I'm going to take left hand here, right hand under the bar, and roll for 5, 4, 3. Take some concentration because I'm really making sure that ball is going where I want it to go. Switching sides, getting into nice rotation, shoulders are organized, and roll with my left obliques for 5, 4, 3. I need to do this more often. It's a really great abdominal. Feels really good on the knees too. Some of the students that I find kneeling on the carriage that don't like that pressure, they don't seem to mind on the ball because it's kind of more contouring. And last but not least, I'm going to come all the way up. And like I showed you a moment ago, you can take this and use it kind of like you would a plank, where you're just teaching stability for the core, and just do some arm movements, either together or helicopter, or even add some hand weights. Now, forward and backwards is one way to do this. The other way to do it is going to be side to side. So I've got my feet over the frame, and I'll flip it around to show you. But it does create some instability here. Pad the frame if the feet are uncomfortable. But you can add some same arm movement, because sometimes we always are cueing our students that shift in the hips and try to anchor the hips. Well, if you shift in the hips, when you're doing this, you're going to go down. So really on a mermaid, and the last thing you can do is widen the feet and knees for a little bit more support. Sorry. And if you do the mermaid, it's quite a challenge. Oops, let me push that all the way out. Up and mermaid. Concentration is key. So see how I shifted right there? So I've really got to anchor my right knee a little bit more, pressing down into the ball. So I get a real stretch. All right, so play around with those. Please do not attempt to do any of these more advanced ones without a spot. It is limitless you can do. Sometimes I'll add hand weights when I'm in an athletic class. So I'll start with those really great side sitting stretch series here. Then I may do a few reverse abdominal series there. Then we've got their hand weights at the ready. We come up and we do some kneeling basic arm work. And then just have them hold the weights, slowly do half presses up to really challenge. So add some light hand weights or medium hand weights into that series and really have fun playing around with the limitless options you can do. Adding the stability ball either in the well, on the carriage for certain stretches, and outside even using the straps. So thanks for watching.